Hello there, my name is Richard McMunn from the interview training website, passmyinterview.com, and in this training video, I am going to teach you how to pass a tax officer or tax inspector interview. If you are applying to become either a tax officer or tax inspector with any organisation, make sure you stay tuned because the tips, questions and sample answers I am about to give you will definitely help you pass your interview at the first attempt. Now, to achieve that goal, I will cover 4 things in this training video. Number 1, I will tell you which tax officer interview questions you must prepare for. These questions come up during 95% of tax officer interviews. Number 2, I am going to give you 2 essential tips for giving a top scoring answer to each of those interview questions. Number 3, I am then going to give you a unique and brilliant example answer to each tax officer interview question so you pass your interview at the first attempt. And then finally, number 4, I will tell you where you can instantly download my 21 great answers to tax officer interview questions. And just very quickly, if you are new to my channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Thousands of you, and I mean thousands of you, are passing your job interviews at the first attempt. I can only help you succeed if you are subscribed, and please hit the like button because that really does motivate me to create more great content for you. Thank you very much indeed. Now, the first question I want to help you answer is, tell me about yourself. Tip number 1. Now, this is going to be the first question you will have to answer at your tax officer interview. Now, tax officers, as you already know, must have good communication skills. So make sure you practice your answer several times before your interview. You can practice it by either giving it in front of a friend or relative or by simply sitting down in front of a mirror and practicing your answer. And tip number 2, in your response, I recommend you talk about the skills you have that match the tax officer job description, any experience you can bring to the organisation, and also tell them the type of person you are and what you will do in your duties to have a positive impact as a tax officer. So here is my brilliant example answer for you to write down and practice. Tell me about yourself. Here we go. Thank you for the opportunity to become a tax officer with your organisation. I am a proficient, self-motivated, diligent and knowledgeable tax officer with the skills and qualities to meet the role's demands. Since attaining the qualifications required for a career in tax, I worked for several organisations where I gained experience conducting financial analysis of accounts, inspecting reports, utilising financial software tools and working as part of a wider team to achieve the organisation's financial objectives. I take pride in the work I produce as a tax officer, and in my previous role, my manager praised me for my strong work ethic, problem-solving skills, and how I prioritised my work independently. Now, if you hire me as a tax officer, I will take ownership of my ongoing professional development, ensure I stay updated with tax laws and regulations, and work well under pressure. And I look forward to sharing additional details regarding my suitability for this position in the interview. That is a brilliant answer. Don't forget, pause the video, write down the answer and practice it before your interview. It will make a huge difference. Don't forget, this is going to be the first question you will have to answer. So if you give a great response, it gives you confidence and it also creates a really good impression with the tax manager or hiring manager, whoever is interviewing you for the position. Make sure you practice it. The second question I want to help you answer is, why did you want to become a tax officer? Tip number 1. Now, as you and I already know, it takes a unique set of skills and qualities to be a competent tax officer. So this next question is assessing your motivations for choosing this challenging career. Tip number 2, good things to say in your answer are how you will get to work with numbers and analyze information, which is something that you enjoy. the job security that obviously comes with being a tax officer, because let's face it, tax officers will always be in high demand. And you can also say how you enjoy the challenge of keeping your knowledge of tax and accounting updated. So here is another brilliant example answer to help you. Why did you want to become a tax officer? I enjoy working with numbers, am academically minded, and have a curious and analytical mind that is suited to a career in tax. I also enjoy explaining complex concepts to others in simple, easy to understand terms, so being a tax officer ticks the boxes regarding job satisfaction. I also wanted a secure career, and because tax officers will always be in demand, it made perfect sense to choose this role. I enjoy the job variety of being a tax officer, and the challenge of keeping my knowledge updated is something I enjoy. Finally, a career in tax provides me with a stimulating mix of analytical challenge, numerical expertise, and creativity. That is such a good answer. It's a brilliant response, and you can see how all of these answers will help you easily beat the competition at your tax officer interview. Now, don't go anywhere because I still have more questions and answers to give you, but when you are ready, click the link in the top right-hand corner of the video and you can head straight through to my website, passmyinterview.com, where you can instantly download these slides plus my full set of 21 tax officer interview questions and top scoring example answers. But here is the next question I want to help you answer, and that is, what are the essential skills and qualities needed to be a tax officer? If you answer this question incorrectly, you will definitely fail your interview. Make sure you prepare an answer. Tip number 1. So this next common tax officer interview question is assessing your knowledge of the job description. Important. Please make sure you study the job description before your interview because it will give you some clues as to the skills and qualities needed in the role so you can reference them in your answer. Tip number 2. Now, in your response, be sure to include the following things: a strong knowledge of tax regulations, being proficient in tax software tools, and attention to detail and also good communication skills, but also the ability to work well under pressure. So here is another top scoring example answer to help you pass your tax officer interview. What are the essential skills and qualities needed to be a tax officer? A successful and competent tax officer must have a strong knowledge of tax laws and regulations to ensure compliance and accurate assessments. Proficiency in financial analysis and reporting is essential for interpreting complex financial data and also identifying discrepancies. Attention to detail and accuracy are critical to avoid errors, while advanced mathematical and analytical skills support precise tax calculations. Other essential skills include a need for strong problem solving and decision making abilities to help resolve tax issues effectively. Effective communication and interpersonal skills are crucial for explaining tax regulations and working with stakeholders, as is the need to explain complex taxation scenarios in very simple terms. Being proficient in the use of financial software helps streamline reporting, and the ability to work under pressure ensures your deadlines will always be met. And finally, continuous learning is vital to stay updated with evolving tax laws and industry trends, as is the ability to collaborate well with others in the tax department to achieve the organisation's core objectives. Can you imagine giving that level of response at your tax officer interview? You clearly know what is required to maintain competency in the role. It's a great answer. Here is the next question. What are your strengths and weaknesses? Tip number 1. So this next common tax officer interview question requires a very careful answer. Now, I recommend you align your strengths with the essential criteria that is listed in that job description. Now, for the weakness element of the answer, do not say you are a perfectionist, and also do not say you don't have any weaknesses. There is a tendency for tax officers to say, I am a perfectionist, because they don't make mistakes. They can't make mistakes. But that is not the way to answer this question. Let me give you some great strengths and a brilliant weakness that will definitely impress the hiring manager. Here we go. What are your strengths and weaknesses? One of my greatest strengths is my strong attention to detail. In taxation, accuracy is critical, and I ensure that all financial records, tax returns, and compliance documents are thoroughly reviewed to avoid errors or discrepancies. I also have excellent analytical skills, which help me interpret complex tax laws, identify potential risks, and provide solutions to ensure compliance. Finally, perhaps my greatest strength is my in-depth understanding of tax laws and regulations, which enables me to provide expert advice and ensure compliance. I continuously update my knowledge to stay ahead of legislative changes that may impact tax policies. Now, my biggest weakness is asking for help. In the past, I have been reluctant to ask other people for help because I prefer to solve problems independently. However, I have learned that collaboration often leads to better solutions. So now I actively seek input from colleagues when necessary, which has improved efficiency and teamwork. So those are really good strengths that are relevant to being a competent tax officer. And that is a really good weakness, to say that you struggle sometimes to ask for help because you prefer to do things yourself. And that is a common weakness amongst tax officers. Here is the next question. How would you handle a difficult taxpayer? Oh, this is a tough one. Tip number 1. Now, tax officers must possess the ability to remain calm and composed during challenging interactions with taxpayers. So tip number 2, in your answer, try to give a scenario where you previously handled a taxpayer or client in a way that diffused the situation and also achieved a successful outcome by using active listening skills and good communication. So here is my brilliant example answer. How would you handle a difficult taxpayer? Here we go. In my previous role, I dealt with a taxpayer who was frustrated after receiving a penalty notice for late tax submission. They were upset and insisted they had filed on time, refusing to listen to my initial explanation. Now, my responsibility was to handle the situation professionally, clarify the issue, and find a resolution while ensuring compliance with tax regulations. I remained calm and listened carefully to their concerns without interrupting, acknowledging their frustration. Now, once they had expressed their concerns, I explained the tax deadline policy in simple terms and then reviewed their records. Now, I discovered that while they had submitted part of the documentation, a key form was missing, which triggered the penalty. I reassured them that I understood their concern and guided them through the process of submitting the missing form. I also informed them of the appeal process in case they wanted to challenge the penalty officially. Now, by staying patient and providing clear guidance, I was able to de-escalate the situation. The taxpayer submitted the missing form and they paid the penalty. They later thanked me for explaining things clearly and helping them understand how to avoid similar issues in the future. That is such a powerful answer because you are using really good listening skills. You're giving the taxpayer time to speak, to explain what's happened. And then you are explaining in simple terms the reason why the situation has occurred and also giving them the option of challenging the penalty officially. It's a really good answer because, again, at the end, there is a successful resolution. Now, the next thing to do to accelerate your learning even further is click that link right now in the top right-hand corner of the video. Head straight through to my website, passmyinterview.com, and you can instantly download these slides plus my full set of 21 brilliant answers to tax officer and tax inspector interview questions. You can have this guide in your inbox literally within 2 minutes from now by clicking the link. Also, go through to my website because on that page, I will tell you the 3 questions I recommend you ask at the end of your tax officer interview. So when the tax manager or hiring manager says to you, do you have any questions for us? I recommend you ask them 3 questions. On that page, I tell you which questions to ask. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and also connect with me on LinkedIn. I have put my LinkedIn link in the description below the video. It is always an absolute honour and a pleasure to connect with like-minded professionals such as yourself. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the very best for passing your tax officer interview. Have a wonderful day.